I just turned 29 and for my birthday I wanted to do something special. So we're going to the world's only 3 Michelin Star Vegan restaurant in New York City. I got a reservation at 11 Madison Park for a 10-course, 4-hour-long meal. So I took the train to the city to see if it was really worth the hype. As soon as I walked into the doors, I could feel the elegance. The grand dining room, housed in the historic Metropolitan Life North building, boasted high ceilings and expansive windows that flooded the restaurant with natural light. The impeccably dressed staff then welcomed us warmly and led us to the table. I quickly sensed the little details that set this restaurant apart. Before getting into the food, let me give you a little background on 11 Madison Park. So the restaurant has not always been vegan. It only transitioned in 2021, a few years after being ranked the best restaurant in the world by the world's 50 best restaurants. Before the transition, the restaurant was known for its traditional fine dining experience, featuring dishes that showcase meat and dairy. But the restaurant made a significant and controversial decision to adopt a fully plant-based menu, making it one of the most high-profile vegan restaurants in the world. The shift was primarily driven by sustainability and environmental concerns. The chef and owner expressed his deepening awareness of the impact of the food industry on the planet and decided to take a bold step toward reducing the restaurant's carbon footprint and supporting more eco-friendly and ethical practices.
The world is changing and the food system is changing and the climate is changing, and I felt like I had a responsibility to use this platform, to use my voice, to use my creativity to make that future more delicious and more beautiful.
The decision was met with praise from the vegan community, but also much criticism from those outside of it. In the end, it sparked discussions about the future of fine dining, the environmental impact of the restaurant industry, and the importance of conscious eating. So after hearing about all this, I knew I needed to try it, not just for my personal tasting pleasure, but also to support the message that the restaurant is sending. At the same time, I was dying to know if it was really worth the $365 without tax and tip price tag.
First course is going to be all about tomatoes. Clarified tomato water, steeped with star anise and some toasted juniper, and then infused with Thai basil, some lemongrass, as well as kaffir limebake.
My plebeian description is it tasted like super fancy tomato soup if it were a drink. I couldn't get enough of it. If they served it by the gallon, I'd gladly indulge. Course 1 was a flavor explosion. The tomatoes were accompanied by a soup that had me wanting to lick the plate clean. The heirloom tomato pieces were great, but the hidden gem was the tomato puree underneath, just out of this world delicious. Next, we ordered some drinks to try out. It was refreshing to see the variety of alcoholic and non-alcoholic options, and they definitely did not skimp out on the non-alcoholic ones, which was really nice to see. We tried the jasmine and hibiscus. They both were super refreshing, sweet, summery drinks. Course 2 featured silken tofu made in-house, and it was absolutely delicious. This might have been my favorite of the savory dishes, but unfortunately halfway through, a waiter came up to our table and asked to take it back because there was some kind of miscommunication and asked to replace it with something a little different. I'm still not sure what that was about, but it's okay because the replacement, tart flambe with summer truffles, was equally delightful and also was one of my favorites. The sauce under the truffles was so creamy, it was almost cheesy. Course 3 introduced me to tomburi, a seed from the summer cypress with a texture reminiscent of caviar. I'm not sure about the taste because I haven't had caviar in almost a decade, so I can't really recall what it tasted like, but rest assured it was delicious. The white sauce was like upscale mayo. I'm really trying to give you my all with my descriptions here, can you tell? With the meal progressing, we couldn't resist trying more drinks. We got the cucumber and carajillo. The cucumber was simple and delicious, and the carajillo was recommended to us by the server after we asked for an espresso-based drink, and it was like even tastier than an espresso martini, which is delicious on its own. Course 4 was a nostalgic dish presented exceptionally. The bread was flaky and perfect, and they even offered us more when we finished. I hadn't had bread and butter in this way since before I went vegan, so I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Summer bean salad with epazote, thinly sliced sunflower, and some pickled green tomato.
Course 5 was probably the most underwhelming of the courses in my opinion, but I still wasn't disappointed as I loved trying a unique ingredient for the first time.
All right, brown rice cooked with a leek and sofrito stock. In addition, there's some Chinese chive and Calabrian chili.
Course 6 had a perfectly toothsome texture mixed with crispy bits. At this point, one thing that kept standing out to me was the expert use of punchy herbs. Sometimes I'd get a certain unspecified leaf in a bite that was an herby surprise that elevated the delicate flavors that much more. The flavors of this one didn't completely blow me away, but as a big texture person, I still enjoyed every bite. Course 7's crispy element was a treat. Tempura'd okra and a leaf eaten like a fancy taco. I hope you're enjoying my descriptions. I've honestly always wondered how people in shows like MasterChef could take something so simple and like dress it up in all these sexy culinary terms like remoulade and confit. I need to add some of those to my vocabulary.
This is your final savory course, which is inside of our volcano here. Puree of zucchini. Inside, roasted zucchini on top of tomatillo braised seitan.
Course 8 had an awesome combination of flavors, very unique. I'd never tasted seitan quite like this. It was very delicate and spongy, but not overly soft. It soaked in the flavors of the sauce wonderfully. The flour wrapped, I think poblano pepper, was also delicious. I ate it all in one bite because I'm a rascal, what can I tell you? This was the most special part of the night. So after we wrapped up the savory courses, one of the staff members came up to our table and asked to take us into the back for a tour of the kitchen. Of course, I said yes. And just like the front, the kitchen ambiance was warm and relaxed. Nothing like what you see in Hell's Kitchen where everyone's manically trying to get the food out on time and there's swearing and screaming and like a fist fight in the background and a grand piano mysteriously falls onto someone. But like, of course it wasn't. I don't know why I was expecting that. To my surprise, they had set up a unique course just for us because it was my birthday. It was a sort of choose your own popsicle adventure where we got to decide between dipping them in a chocolate or peppercorn sauce. We picked one of each, of course, so we could try both, but the gesture was so special. I was smiling so wide, and then later I realized I had something in my teeth the whole time and no one said anything. Like, if you hate me, just say so. Next came desserts, which I quickly learned the restaurant does very, very well. Like, I'm not usually a fan of sorbets, and yet I loved each one that was presented here. I think these were my favorite courses of the whole ordeal. This one was wow. The combination of textures and flavors from the chewy tapioca pearls to the creamy sorbet to the crisp melon and the ice on top was remarkable. Course 10 was so cute with the little candle that they gave me because in case you didn't know, it was my birthday. This one was so good, but specifically there was this like floral aftertaste. I'm dying to know what it was because it was so familiar and like a touch nostalgic. It was so delicious, but I didn't get a birthday choir, so minus 10 points. I loved this one. I love anything with sesame, probably because I'm Arab, but the nuttiness paired so well with the chocolate. And when we finished with the first ones, they brought out more, and I wish I had space to eat this one, but at this point I was so full, so we didn't end up touching those. And then to conclude our meal, we enjoyed a choice of vermouth. Then they handed us a goodie bag with granola, course descriptions, and for me, an extra 11 Madison Park chocolate bar because it was my birthday and I was the most important person there. The service all around was... I was so curious after being taken in the back to have like a unique popsicle experience, what other unique things that the restaurant had done for other people. So I looked through the reviews and I found a slew of things, like someone had mentioned in conversation with the servers that they have a dog named after Miles Davis, and at the end they got a jar of plant-based dog treats with a hand-drawn silhouette of Miles Davis. Every table has a dedicated team of 4, a captain, a server, an assistant server, and a sommelier. On top of that, they have what are called dream weavers, which create these unique experiences for each guest. So no wonder we felt special. And on top of everyone being attentive and warm, the grace and coordination with which they moved around was also like weirdly fun to watch. Someone even came by periodically to wipe the crumbs off the table with this like gua sha type tool. That's the official name. Also, one of the servers kept waving to the camera. It was very cute. He's my favorite. Knowing sustainability was the main driver behind the shift to veganism, I wanted to know what other initiatives the restaurant was taking on that front. Of course, switching to plant-based already reduces greenhouse emissions, land use, water use, deforestation, and more. But on top of that, the restaurant has a partner farm in upstate New York where they source some of their produce. Otherwise, they focus on locally sourced ingredients whenever possible. I was told their farm even uses rainwater capture to minimize water usage. Buying local naturally cuts down on emissions from food transport and supports local farmers and producers. Also, the restaurant helps sustain 11 Madison Truck, which is a mobile commissary kitchen launched in partnership with Rethink Food to address rising hunger needs in New York during the pandemic. So every meal purchased at 11 Madison Park provides 5 meals for that effort. Lastly, from what I can tell, they tend to use environmentally friendly packaging options like glass instead of plastic. All in all, it's such a great example to set for restaurants in the fine dining industry and beyond. We already know the restaurant industry is notoriously heinous when it comes to food waste. Good morning. It is the next day and I'm still on cloud 9 from going to that dinner. Like, I had never experienced anything remotely close to that. Like, with the amount of money that I dropped, it's a good thing I'm saying that. But anyways, I wanted to try their granola that they gave us at the end. It was really cute. They gave it to us and we're like, this is supposed to be your final course with us at 11 Madison Park, but you have it at home. Oat milk, of course. Yeah, I can see why it has rave reviews. It's delicious. I feel like I'm either gonna get comments from like food eating fetishists just thanking me for eating on camera, or I'm gonna get people just disgusted at me chewing my food. So finally, my review. I've already said it, but their attention to detail blew me away, down to the logos on the ice. The entire dining experience felt like a carefully choreographed masterpiece with a minimalist approach to flavors which managed to be both simple and captivating. Unlike many other high-end restaurants, there were no unnecessary embellishments like gold flakes, the ingredients shown in their own right. I actually spliced together all of the times that we moaned during this meal just to demonstrate how good it was, and then I played it back and I was like, this will undoubtedly get me banned on YouTube, so just letting you know that exists. So with everything included, taxes, tips, drinks, I ended up paying exactly $526, and I wholeheartedly believe it was money well spent for the experience. And would I do it again? Absolutely, emphatically yes. I also want to explore some other Michelin Star Vegan restaurants, or restaurants that will veganize meals at least. So with all this said, let me know what you think. Based on everything you've seen in this video, was it worth the $500+ or have I officially lost my mind? Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.